What is religion? What is spirituality? And before you have clicked on this video and you're probably being triggered, some of you might be watching this and you're like, religion, spirituality, cut the bullshit. Like, what do I mean by this? I'm not a spiritual person, but I'm also not a spiritual person or a religious person. I would class myself as a universal human being, and I believe in the universe and energy and sources of that. Spirituality has been tainted and tarnished, so is religion, and I'm going to explain in this video why it is really holding you hostage and keeping you stuck with the belief system that you have ongoing. And I've been part of this, right? I've been literally my whole life born into a religious family, and the culture and the upbringing of that, and seeing the abusive side, the side of it that can really keep people chained and stuck for years, literal decades, right? And their entire life. And also the spirituality community, where I've actually been part of the spiritual community and seen the stuckness and the blockages and the belief systems there as well that are keeping spiritual people literally not spiritual in any essence. And this is why I started to literally disassociate from the actual word of spiritual. And I don't like saying that I'm a spiritual being, because most people have tarnished that label. It's just a label. Both aspects of spirituality and religion are very much similar, and that's what I'm going to break down in this video. But I'm also going to be showing you exactly how it is keeping you stuck. So if you are a religious person, I'm not mocking or knocking religion, right? Because the wisdom that can be found, and by the way, I have not read any religious scripture till this day. I plan on reading some just because I'm a curious mind. I open my mindset to the teachings and the wisdom that can be found in every single written scripture, right? I gain wisdom from Harry Potter, which is a fiction book. I gain wisdom from personal development books. I gain wisdom from astrology. And so religious books can literally be viewed as such, right? Just wisdom. But what's happened, this is why I'm talking about this in this video, is a lot of people, right? What is religion? Usually, if you look at the most common ones, right? Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, they all look at an idol as God, right? Jesus, Allah, say Krishna. And now again, I know there are demigods within the Hindu religion as well. But what each religion is doing, first of all, is this is man-made. It's a man creation. So what people have done is they've taken the wisdom of these people who lived and reigned once upon a time, the wisdom, because these guys were mostly enlightened, right? Enlightened means to know oneself and to impart wisdom. He imparted great wisdom. And what people perceived as miracles was literally utilizing the power of their mind with the energies that were readily available to them at that time, right? We still have readily available energy, and that's what we call manifestation in this current age, what people used to call miracles back in the day. Miracles back in the day are simply current miracles of manifestation, right? It's just a different use of word for the same energy. And if you get this, you'll stop pedestalizing, because idolizing puts you in separation from something, okay? And this is why religion is actually going to keep a lot of people stuck if you view it this way. But at the same time, if people use religion as the wisdom from it to better their lives, then obviously that's a completely different concept. So the concept that I'm talking about is, if you are viewing religion as putting somebody, one of these things, as a pedestal, that they are better than you, and that is, you are praying to this person, this individual, their energy, right? But they were just human beings. They were human beings imparting wisdom from soul, source, spark of universal energy. The same stuff that we channel, that I'm channeling, that I class as God, is universal energy. It's the consciousness, right? It's the collective consciousness, the fifth dimension. This is all the same shit, right? But it doesn't make me God. Well, it does in a way, and this is why on my TikTok, the one that exploded, I was literally sharing that we are all the creators of our own reality. Now, if we are the creator of our own reality, even in Christianity, they say all-knowing, all-benevolent. The creator is also another name that's been given, right? So if the creator is the name that's given to God, then why are we not also parts of that same energy? We are. And when we can tap into that creator energy within us, we start to create our reality the way that we desire it. Because most people's minds are not seeing past the illusions of pedestalizing and idolizing these individuals who had attained that level of alignment in consciousness, they see it as above them, right? They cannot see it as internally the same sort of wisdom that lies within every single one of us. Like if you've clicked on this video and you're watching this, you have that same wisdom within you if you open your mind, your body, your spirit to that information. So that's religion. That's religious side, right? That has been tarnished with people just making man God. And then the scriptures, as they get passed down, each person who rewrites each scripture is then tarnishing it with their mind, so their projections, their perception of it, because perception is very unique to every single one of us. How I view things is very different to how you're viewing things. And that can be the single difference between somebody being super successful and manifesting and creating miracles in their life to somebody not. Perspective is everything. And that's why I do perspective shifts for every single person that comes into my world will get some sort of mindset shift that they might not have even thought about before, because my speciality is going against the grain of what most of the world perceive and see as religion. To me, is just putting a human being who is highly wise and putting their wisdom on a pedestal. Now, if we take that pedestal down and we just see it as a normal book of wisdom, we just read it, it's an author, a great person who had great wisdom, and I'm going to learn a lot from it, and then I'm going to apply that learning to my life. If you're doing that, cool, it's not a hindrance. But if you're not doing that, if you're praying and you're like, oh, please, you know, Jesus, give me this, or oh, please, Allah, like, do this for me, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, you're not creating, first of all, because you're begging something outside of yourself to deliver something to you, first of all. And that's the other thing, religion, this is why it keeps you stuck, right? And we'll go into that in just a second. But before I do that, I just want to talk about the spirituality that has been tarnished as well. Because spirituality has become this stupid thing of, oh, it's all love and light. And like people are signing their names off with love and light and positivity when they are the most negative people on the planet. Sometimes I've experienced this. I have been to psychic fairs, right? Where you'd expect, because it's a spiritual fair, everything energetically is going to feel peaceful. Because to me, spirituality is being in your spirit. Being in your spirit means being in your God energy, which is God energy is literally the creator energy, which is purposeful. Purposeful energy has passion, drive, enthusiasm, excitement, joy, happiness, love, and peace. There is no space for anger, hostility, lower vibrational energies, but you will have cover-ups, you will have layers of spiritual people who say, if you're not positive, and this is toxic positivity, toxic. And I'll tell you why it's toxic positivity, because I manifest from negativity. I've told you this in a couple of my other videos. If you go and watch them, and again, if you're watching this and you're already liking some of this stuff, then like, subscribe for more. But toxic positivity has become a thing where you have to just feel positive all the time. And it's like, well, no, if somebody dies in your family, you're not going to feel positive all the time. But what spirituality teaches you is that when you believe that everything is spirit-based, everything becomes energy. And so the energy of death simply means that that energy, which is the soul, so spirituality is actually soul reality. When you're living from your soul and creating reality from there, rather than from your ego. So when the energy of death occurs in your life, right, all that is happening is the soul has left the human body. The body of a human runs on soul, which is the spark of life. It's an energy, right? That life force of energy has just simply moved out of that body, and it will go into another realm, another body, whatever it chooses to do, right? Because that's what it's here to do. Us souls are here to experience everything. That's what we want to do. That's why we crave living. That's why we crave passion. That's why you are drawn towards people who have that passion, that zest for life, because it's what every single one of our souls wants, right? Whichever way we seek to do this can be different, but the core essence of spirituality is literally living in your purpose, which means to be alive, to be free, and to do the things that your soul is begging you to do. Whether you choose to listen to it or not is another thing. And most people are stuck because they're not listening to their soul. They're being dragged around by their mind and their ego in survival mode, trauma, stuckness, thinking that they can't do something even though they can, right? So spirituality has been tarnished because everybody's going down this toxic positive route of you need crystals and oracle cards. And don't get me wrong, I love my oracle cards. I do. I started my whole entire business based off of this, but I quickly noticed this cycle of toxic positivity, and I was like, no, my oracle readings, my tarot is just a tool, just like money is also a tool that we use to better our life in some way, shape or form, right? To expand, because money can be used to expand our lives in some way. We can buy more things, we can create more impact in the world. Oracle cards can do the same for your mind. It can expand your mind depending on who you are channeling the messages from and how you are perceiving things. Like I said, perception is everything. So when you go into toxic positivity, if you're going, oh, there's death of a member, but I'm not going to feel it because I'm positive. I'm just going to stay in my positive little bubble. That's disassociating from the emotion, from the energetics, and it's also repressing, you're oppressing yourself. And so again, that can keep you stuck, because if you don't utilize, you don't fuel or move that energy, it's going to go inside of your body somewhere and show up as stuckness in somewhere in your life as well, right? Because energy flows where attention goes, right? So if your attention is constantly focused on, oh, I need to be positive, I need to be positive, I need to be positive, then the actual energy of death, the grief, has to flow somewhere. And so it's going to be flowing internally because you're not expressing it. So expression of grief and anger and rage is a good thing when done in a creative way, right? So rage and anger, and there's a thing that I used to do called rage dancing. When I had a lot of rage internally, I would dance it out, because we store energy, we store emotions in our body, especially things like grief and anger. You see boxers, they'll go and punch, right? But a lot of men do this, it's masculine, where they'll go and get into a fight because that's how they express it physically. Women, if you're a woman, whatever your gender, watching this, find an outlet where you can express this as quickly as possible, because obviously with the law of attraction, law of vibration, when we go into the principles of the universe, and this is why I say I'm a universal being, because in the universe, right, and this is the other thing, there is no, when you see a spiritual person saying you have to think positively, or a religious person telling you have to read this, you have to do this, there are rules, right? And this is the difference as well. But now, going into why spirituality and religion can keep you stuck, me and my partner were having this discussion yesterday in the car and talking about this, and this is where the download came from. I was like, do you know what, I need to do a video on this to help anybody out who is stuck in this cycle, because it's toxic, the whole entire thing, I think. Personally, we are all beings of source energy, which is the universal flow, which means that we can manifest anything that we want. Me and you are no different. Everything that I have, soulmate, house, manifest, ability to manifest money, you can have. Everything that you can have, other people can have. Okay, when there's no difference. When it comes to human beings, we have the soul, which is the spark of light and spark of our creativity. We have our passion, we have our purpose. We use astrology and human design to help that. Again, that's another tool that you can just use. You don't have to. You might have your unique method, and that's the whole point. Your individuality is what you are here to come and learn, be, do, and then have. It's that simple. So rules are not meant for the soul. The soul hates this. Yeah? We're not supposed to have rules. Now, religion has rules. How many religions do you hear? You should not be married. You should not be having sex before marriage. Rule number 1. You should not be drinking alcohol. Muslim. Rule number 2. Hinduism. You should not eat meat. These are all rules that are man-made, okay? It doesn't matter about the rules, because when it comes to true universal energy, there are laws and principles of the universe. Now, this is very different, because when you think about the law of gravity, this is not man-made, this is science. Now we move into science. Now, I've never met somebody who's going to argue with me about gravity and how it works, right? Because it's proven. There's evidence of scientific proof. Atoms, molecules, particles, we are all made up of matter. All matter is vibrating at a particular frequency. Real spirituality, if you want to dive into it and break it down, is not toxic positivity and crystals. It's science. And it's utilizing science to better your life through your spirit, through your soul essence, using the universal laws and principles. Now, this is where it becomes universal. So you can class yourself as a universal being if you are aligning with what I'm saying and what I'm resonating, and what I'm saying is resonating, right? Because a universal being means to me, and this is again my little term that I've coined, Universal being is simply somebody who follows the laws of the universe, the principles of the universe, and aligns it with their values to create from universal energy, from their soul, which is the spark of life, I said, the spirit. And this is why I think it's called spirituality, with the, everything in our reality is duality. We live in a world of duality, material and spiritual. Spiritual is being the soul, material being the physical realms, everything that we can see, touch, feel with our physical senses. Everything spiritual is internal senses, intuition, and this is why following intuition is so key if you want to start living a universal life and creating with the universe and the laws of the universe. So if you feel like you are chained, or you've been chained, or you feel like religion is actually keeping you stuck, question the rules. Don't follow the rules blindly, and move from rules into the laws, the actual scientific proof of how the universe works and operates around us, within us, because we and the universe are made of the same energy. If we are matter and we have molecules, atoms and particles vibrating at a particular frequency, and the chair that we sit on, the trees that we see outside, everything is also matter and operating at a particular frequency, so is money, so are soulmates, everything can be matched. The only thing we need to do is fine-tune our energy. And this is where mindset comes in. This is where your spiritual meditations come in, visualization, because the mind operates through particular processes. That's what you want to be getting deep into and learning and understand. Not sitting here creating war and fighting with my religion's better than yours and what religion even is. Like, just understand that religion is man-made by people who put other people on a pedestal who had wisdom, just like you put celebrities on a pedestal, when really all they are is human beings who are amazing at their craft or amazing with their wisdom, whatever it is. You can then just learn that wisdom and apply it to your own life and become God realized or actualized, whatever it is that you want to coin, and become a universal being without being in your ego, and just create whatever life you want and use it for good, because hopefully my videos are not being watched by psychopaths. So if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm coming up with loads more videos that you will absolutely love and enjoy, and I will catch you in the next video. Mwah.